Good evening, everyone. Jai Bhim and Namo Buddhaya. Now, I would like to introduce you to Dr. Santosh Raut. So, Dr. Santosh Raut is a scholar and working as a faculty member in the Department of Aesthetics and Philosophy, the English and Foreign Language University, Hyderabad. He's finished his MA and MPhil and PhD from Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. He did research in the UK for 3 years on the theme of Kant, Schopenhauer and Buddhist aesthetics. He is an ordained teacher, Dhammachari Maitriveer Nagarjuna in an international Buddhist order called Triratna Bauddha Sangha. He holds a position as an honorary director, Nagarjuna Training Institute, Nagloka, Nagpur, looking after the training and education in the theme of Dr. Ambedkar and Buddhist practices. He is currently at the Harvard University as a senior research fellow and scholar in residence at Center for Study of World Religions, Harvard Divinity School. He also serves as an expert committee member, Buddhavanam Project, Government of Telangana State. Buddhavana is one of the largest Buddhist theme parks in the world. He is also one of the founders of the Buddha Festival, one of the largest Buddhist festivals of art and culture at Diksha Bhumi, Nagpur. He has traveled in Asia and the West to teach Ambedkar and Buddhism. The major countries where he traveled and did this were like Thailand, Japan, Taiwan, England, the Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, Hungary, France, and Sri Lanka. He also researched on the Hungary Gypsy people who are inspired by Dr. Ambedkar and Buddhism. His publication on the themes like Dr. Ambedkar, democracy, Buddhism, women empowerment, education has appeared in international journals and in books. With this, I would please call upon Dr. Santosh Raut to please come forward.
Dear brothers and sisters in Dhamma, first of all, I'm so happy, so delighted to be here. Today is the day when Baba Sahib gave Diksha at Chandrapur. It's a very historic event that has ever happened in the revivalist movement or in the history of Buddhism itself since ancient time. Before I speak something, I would very deeply express my thank to Milind Dada. Of course, because I'm speaking here and on this day I'm able to speak something, therefore I'm happy. It's a very touching moment for me because the moment I arrived, I saw Raju Dada's picture on shrine. I was very close to him. Whenever he used to come to India, he used to come to JNU where I used to study, and in Nagpur I met him several times. And when we heard the news, lot of sort of young scholars of my generation felt very deeply shocked, and we were not here, we were back in India, so we could only feel his sort of presence over here. Secondly, very close colleague of him called Kashi Krishna ji, who also lost his life. I just spoke to him before he died, when he passed away. So sort of it's a bit nostalgic for me by seeing his picture here. I was part of this and following all these movements. I never been to US, it's my first time, but I knew and I spoke few times in UAE with Dada and also with Kashi Krishna ji. So I remember both of them, what friendship can really bring into the world. That's the sort of article they have written through their life. So I express my deep sort of memories, remembrance to both these great people. Anyway, I just wanted to share a little memory. Whenever his friend Kashi Krishna ji used to come to India, am I audible enough? He used to share that he would go to his village, Salem, that was just on the border of Andhra and Tamil Nadu. He was totally Maharashtrianized by living in Mumbai, Kashi Krishnaji, but he was Telugu person. And whenever he used to go to his village, he will carry a lot of gifts and some scholarship to the very bright, promising youths among Ambedkarite Buddhist community. So his sister asked him, when he detected by cancer and he knew that he may not survive for a long time, so his sister asked him, Anna, would you like to go back to village now? So he was in the hospital and he said, Akka, whenever I used to go back to the village, I used to carry something to my people. This time I have nothing to offer besides my death. So why should I go to my village? And that really touched me very deeply. So the people who sort of really working hard and sacrifice their lives to keep that flame alive, and seeing all of you here on this very day celebrating and keeping the flame of the Dhamma alive is extraordinary event, and I'm very happy to be part of this event, though I'm traveling with my very dear friends after this unveiling of statue. It sort of gave me a different energy the moment I enter into a hall. Anyway, I will speak maybe for 20 minutes. 20 minutes, and if you have any questions or interaction, I'm very happy to take few questions. Of course, the great journey of Baba Sahib starts from Colombia, and we all are very aware of it. And when this young man called Dr. Ambedkar was sort of cultivating his mind in the Western world, he was interacting with the very fine minds like John Dewey, Seligman, on other economies, anthropologists and historians. Being in the Harvard, I am experiencing how much painful it is to study, especially in the humanities and the subjects like religions and anthropologies. I'm not diminishing science because most of us come through the boat of science. But studying something in the subject of religion or in the subject of theology, where whoever you are, may that be a president, prime minister, chief minister, you are a subject to an identity. Whatever you achieve, I'm sure you must be experiencing in your own. I'm new to this sort of part of the world. I've been to Europe many times, but I'm sure you must have gone through some experiences subtly or obviously. So it's very difficult to sort of unfold what was sort of lying in young Ambedkar when he was here. And it's very easy to understand his constitutional, economic, social, political labor. It's not difficult, but easy to understand till he gave first constitution, first president, the Constitution of India. I often say whenever I go, it's very difficult to understand the last phase of his life, what he was actually trying to do. Still, well, I congratulate for the great statue of equality, and we are sort of celebrating that. It gives us an emotional energy. It gives us a sort of power of the faith that Dr. Ambedkar unleashed in us for the spirit of liberation. Nonetheless, process goes far deeper than what we have thought about him, right? I don't know if you haven't often watched Stanislavski's movies, He just shows images on a big screen. And it's very difficult to catch his mind in his movies what he actually tries to say. I often feel while watching his movies that he has great amount of sort of imageries to deliver than what he actually shows on the screen. I think Dr. Ambedkar's life is something like that. You cannot catch him in these volumes. Of course, you will understand what he has to say, right? Likewise, we cannot understand what he was trying to do on 14th October 1956. Why? Because the root of inequalities or the root of oppression are not social and they are not political. Caste is not a political problem and caste is not a social problem. He said in 1936 it's a mental problem. It's a sort of deeply rooted your attitudes. That's the problem I have to change. Reservations or affirmative policies and whatever the provisions he has made, that gives us a lot of benefit. And therefore we are here. This is a result of that great processes. But processes were so complicated that he has to unfold gently by studying every subject. And when it comes to the religion, it's very difficult not to crack. Or it comes to the sort of theologies or question of God or question of your own existence. That's extremely difficult to unfold. It's fairly manageable in the Western world because Jews or Christians did not have to deal with the complicated system that comes on the basis of birth, which what they call here a race. While the cake is very hot in US about race, caste, discrimination and all, at least being my fellow brothers and sisters in this hall, I would really wanted to say, caste is not a race problem. Please do understand that. Caste is not a race problem. So Ambedkar lived here. He was studying all this separate settlement and this and that. But whatever he learned, he manifested in us when he reached back to the India. Why? Because he has to deal with the complicated caste system, which is not a race system. Right? So there are 50 Indians you gather in general in European society. I would not recognize who belongs to which caste. What caste I belong to, which caste look like me, quote unquote. Can you discriminate that through my color or through my height or through my features? Right? It's obvious understanding that I am in this hall, so you would say he belongs to us. That doesn't happen in the caste system. Race system is very obvious. You can discriminate the race: Afghanistan, Iranian, African, American, Indian, South Asian, Southeast Asian. These are the racial categories. Caste categories are very difficult to unfold. You do not know what caste you belong to. That's what Dr. Ambedkar has to deal with when he went back. So I would go back to the very last meeting he had before his conversion. That was in 56, probably November, 55 November, in 26 Alipur Road. Please listen this story carefully. I gathered in my research, it's not written anywhere. I gathered this information from Vaman Rao Godboleji when he was alive, when I interviewed him and went to see him. Apart from all ups and downs and complicated currents we share among us, let us leave that aside for a while. So he went to that meeting. Nanak Chandra Ratu, Shastri, all were there, and Dr. Ambedkar came in 26 Alipur Road with a very heavy body, and on the long table he sat. And in that meeting, when he called the meeting, they all thought, because 57 was a second election of independence India, and Dr. Ambedkar just finished writing the manifesto of Republican Party of India, right? That was the time. So they all thought Dr. Ambedkar is going to tell us what would be their election strategies in 1957. Everyone thought of that spirit. And they were looking with him like a great hope. Now we will be in the power, and then everything will be achieved, and our slavery will be gone. And Dr. Ambedkar gently opened his mouth and he said, now I have decided. In coming October, I am going to embrace Buddhism. I haven't decided the place yet, but I am going to embrace Buddhism. And then all his colleagues were upset. They were not happy with him. Said, Baba Sahib, abhi to aapne संविधान दे दिया. You have given everything what you should give us. Now there are elections. Now we are going to win. Why are you bringing question of religion? Then Dr. Ambedkar said, who knows if I may not see 1957. Then the manifesto or the vision of my revolution will be unfinished if I do not uproot the caste from people's mind. Which I said in 1936, the caste is a notional problem. It's a notion of mind. It's not a brick and it's not a wall like I can divide the community or societies. That's what he said. Which he said in 1936 in Annihilation of Caste. So you see the vision from where he is coming. I often say in Buddhist terms, Buddha का कहना और बुद्धुओं का समझना दोनों अलग बात है. They are two different things. So what Ambedkar was trying to do and what probably his follower will do to him, they are two different things. So it takes ages to come a man like Ambedkar, right? Whatever he could done in 65 year of his age, no community has seen such a revolution. I would tell you, in 1836, slavery in America abandoned. What is the status of slavery in America? Our slavery is continuing from 2500 years. And here's, look at the result in only how many years of reservation we are finishing now. Right? We got education where we are sitting and where we are celebrating this. That's only because of the confidence and the human power and the potential that he infused at Diksha Bhumi. That's the power that manifests here. Because you started feeling, he said himself, I am reborn today, I am a free man. I am no more slave. I am free from the hell of the caste. We said that words and this statement so many times. But he knew where problem lies. He was a true doctor. He knew where the disease lies. And immediately after his conversion, two reporters came and asked him, Dr. Ambedkar is a dead religion in India. It's a dry religion. We can't say Buddhism because there were no Buddhism in India before 1956. So I call it a third Dhamma Chakra Pravartan Sutta. Third Dhamma Chakra Pravartana. Why? Because first was happened in the ancient time which Buddha himself did. Second was at Nagarjuna Konda where Nagarjuna did. And then Buddhism never appeared in this land. It was only at Diksha Bhumi that Baba Sahib converted to Buddhism and revived this Dhamma Chakra again. That was the third time in the Buddhist history. Therefore, he is a Bodhisattva and Dharma Raja. That's the reason why we call it Dhamma Raja. He was a king of Dhamma. But the second important saline feature of revival of Buddhism is extremely important, which I am going to share with you. Revival of Buddhism in history of India happened only from the top. It's from the King Ashoka, from Pala dynasty, from Satavahanas, some patronage by Gupta kings, or the till 10th century. It's always a royal revival of Buddhism. It was the first time Baba Sahib revived Buddhism from the bottom, from the poorest to poor class. Who were we? Who has given the Buddhism? We were nothing. We were not in power. We were no mere warrior class. So that's why he not only revived, but reinterpreted and reinvented Buddhism. That's what had happened on 14th October 1956. Let us not just take it as an event. It wasn't in his mind. He was trying to look at something else in us. And he has given us a difficult Dhamma, actually. Why? If I ask that girl to pick up that chair, what does that mean? I have a confidence in her arms that she can pick up that chair. That's the confidence Dr. Ambedkar had in our arms that we will lift up the Dhamma up. Therefore, we have to be strong. That's the confidence he showed in us. Otherwise, you will not give the strongest thing in a weakest hand. Right? The difficult thing, you will never hand it over to the weakest shoulders. So he had that trust on our shoulder, that my people will sacrifice anything for the revival of this Dhamma Chakra. And I am dedicating my own life, rest of the life, for this mental problem that this country is passing through. So he knew that. In that case, if you also look at the history of Christianity, Christianity was never been a popular religion. Right? Jesus, he revived Christianity among the working class. They were poor unless Roman Empire became the first Christian. Then it hit to the West and became a very established sort of chaplaincies, churches, theology, philosophies. All Western philosophies heavily influenced by the theologies that came from the Abrahamic religions. I think Dr. Ambedkar knew that. Only if my people will take it seriously, I will erect an alternative culture, I will erect an alternative history, and I will show new India to the people. And this is my last great gift I am going to this country. That's what he said. That's what he has in his mind. Right? So his answer to that press reporter, immediately after conversion, when he gave that, why are you chosen this dry religion for the liberation of your own people? It's no more exist in this country. And then Dr. Ambedkar replied, gentlemen, I don't think you have read Indian history carefully. Only if you dig anywhere, any soil of the country, you will find nothing but the head of the Buddha. So he said, the Bodhi Ruksha, what you looking now, may be dry at its branches. But only if I give the water, I am sure that Bodhi Ruksha will flower again. And in that shadow, I will create a society what I enshrined in the Indian Constitution. You see the connection? I will re-erect the new society based on liberty, equality, fraternity, justice and self-dignity. That's the answer he has given. And we are the result of those germs or the seeds that Dr. Ambedkar was trying to give pani, water. And therefore, apart from our technical or what I can say professional development, it's extremely important to erect the alternative cultural arc. And that will save us. And therefore, the next statement Baba Sahib said to that reporter, it's not a child's play, I'm playing with the religion. जसा नाविक एखाद्या नावेला एक एक छिद्र पाहून तयार करतो, that's how I prepared for my Diksha Bhumi program, he said, at Nagpur. It's not a child's game. If I am boarding my people into the boat of Dhamma, I, as a navik, as a boatman, it's my responsibility to cross the ocean. And that's the responsibility Baba Sahib has taken, which is very successful. How are we feeling now when we see the Buddha, right? And that seed as a free human being, free woman, free man, that we feel within us. That's the power Dr. Ambedkar has given us. So we no more feel that I'm a part of that system. We are actually, in American sense, untouchable. No one can touch us. That's the power he has given us, right? Not as a achut, as a untouchability in a derogatory sense. Only if we can understand the significance of such event when we celebrate, right? That's what I wanted to say. third point I wanted to make about the slavery and oppression, I recently published my paper in Sage, where I call it I use a wrong word, but I will correct when my another paper from Harvard will come. I call it a cosmic corruption. What is cosmic corruption has happened? Cosmic corruption means if you are born in certain caste, if you are born in certain gender, you are arrested by that gender or you are arrested by that identity. Right? And who makes that identity? Did I choose my parent? Did I choose my caste? Did I choose which country I will born in? Did I choose what religion I will be born in? No. But most of the religion believe that it's a God's wish. Therefore you are born in such and such community or such and such caste. So when your birth is determined by the God and your identity is sanctified by the sacred text, right? Like Shastra, what sacred texts have decided that you will be belong to this caste, and that's the divine command if you have to follow, that it is authorized by the God and sanctified by the sacred text. There is no human world's chance that he can change it. So you have no power to change it. Whatever you do, you are born in that caste, in that gender, in that community or in that identity. Whatever divides that we carry in our mind. So that is the cosmic corruption that has happened. And that's what Dr. Ambedkar corrected. It's not in your hand. It's not in the hand of God. It's in your hand. So therefore in 22 vows he says, now I have decided to follow the way Buddha has followed his path. I will live rest of my life with the guidance of the teachings of the Buddha. That's what he said. Why he brought Buddha? Because Buddha said, Appamadena sampadeta. Right? You are an artist of your own life. You are a sculptor of your own life that you are sculpting. There is no sculptor. कोई करता या शास्ता नहीं है. Attadhipa voice, you are in your own hand. Right?